Welcome to this Tiger Series video snippet. My name is Bernard Lamberel, and in the next couple of minutes I'd like to show you how to use Project Store Pro in order to take advantage of the Avid bin locking. So first we just got a little overview of Project Store Pro and how it allows you creating workspaces. So at this point we're going to create a new workspace to create where we're going to essentially store our Avid project. So first we're going to type the name here, and I'm going to say this is my new Avid project. And we can either create this workspace, because at this point it's just going to be like an empty drive. So I can either create it empty or I can create it from a template. So for instance, I've got different templates here, and by selecting a template I'm actually going to copy from this template the actual folder structure over to my new project. Any past project can actually be flagged to be listed in the templates. So that allows you to either repurpose an old project or create specific templates that you can just use. Now on a template you can actually copy permissions. So all the team members that were assigned around the Randy project will now automatically find this My New Avid project inside their work jobs. If I also copy content from the template, then any files that were stored in this template would be carried over. So this could include some lower thirds, could include some projects, could include all kinds of information, including media. Now I don't need this at this point. I can add some descriptions for search, for later search, some keywords, and most importantly, I can define how this workspace is to be shared between multiple users. So one option is single user write. So as we talked about, this is a checkout check-in system. It ensures that only one editor, even if multiple people have read-write access, only one of them at any given time has write access. Everybody else is locked as read only. The appendant to that is the multi-user write. In this case, any number of users that were given write access will be able to mount the volume with write capability. A special mode of the multi-user write is the Avid bin locking. In this case, not only do we get multi-user write capability, but we also have the volume project mount on the desktop and report itself to be an Avid file system. This is the mode we're going to be using for creating our Avid project. So on Windows, I can also, oops, sorry, I just selected here. On Windows, I can also select a drive letter where this project should mount, so that there's consistency. If I try to mount this project across multiple edit bays, it always tries to mount it as drive letter Q, for instance. Or I can also choose a subfolder of C volume. In this case, all my projects would always mount in the same folder location, which allows me to mount multiple projects on the same location and ensures that my path is always consistent and there's no broken link regardless of how many projects I'm trying to mount. So in this case we're going to choose, let's say, drive letter W, click OK, and essentially create this new project. Now this new project is now available. If I mount it on my desktop, you will now see that it's mounted here as my new project. Because I used the template but not copy content, all these folder structure exist, but it's actually an empty folder structure. There's no file because I did not copy files. So again, if I close this, I just want to show you how to set permissions. So if I open this project and I look at the permissions here, I can see that all these users and editors, some of them have view only, some others have edit capabilities, but I can actually add user Ben. And so now by adding user Ben, then Ben will see this project mounting on his desktop. So just before I click OK, I just want to show you that at this point, if I look at Ben logged in, and in the project shared with Ben, this project is currently not visible in there. But the minute I add him and I save this project, then if I look back into his system, I will now see this new project becoming available and available to mount. So now I can mount it. So you can see how dynamic it is and how easy it is to make a project that you're creating available for other people to use, so that it basically gets into their job folder. So now that I've created this new project, I mounted it already on my Mac. I'm going to mount it again on my PC here. So once again, we can see that, you know, it's very easy to see who are the editors that currently have access to this workspace. So switching over to my Avid system, what I'm now going to do is essentially tell Avid I want to create a new project on this my new Avid project, and I'm going to create a folder in here, and perhaps you know, I can call this folder Avid project, and I'm just going to OK this, and now I'm going to create a new project, and this is going to be my sample project, and I'm going to OK this and OK. So now I'm just essentially creating I'm basically just creating a brand new project on my folder, on my new workspace drive. And as you will see, Avid, as it comes online, it's automatically going to detect that this is an Avid project folder. So you can see it has the bin locking capability. So if I switch over to my Mac, I got my other client, what I'm going to do here is just to show you the difference. I'm actually going to create two projects. So I've got my, I'm going to mount this Coca-Cola drive, and I have this Avid project. So you can see this one is an Avid bin lock-in, and the other one is a standard multi-user write project. So if I go into Avid and start by pointing the, whoops, I'm not going to use this. Actually, yes, I'm just going to start by pointing it to my Coca-Cola drive. And I'm going to open this. I'm just going to create a new project in here just so you can see the difference. I'm just going to call it not Avid. And if I OK this, then I just want to show you the difference when you're creating a project on a standard regular drive and if you're creating a project on a true Avid file system. So by creating this on a standard drive, I'm not going to have any of the bin locking capabilities that is available. And those of you who've used Avid on a direct attach storage, this is exactly what you're normally seeing. You're just seeing your bin, a regular bin, and no bin locking. So again, if I look on the other side on my Windows, you can see I've got the a folder for the computer names, and I've got my bin and my bin locking. So let me switch back to my Mac, and I'm just going to reopen this exact same project. So I'm just going to go on my Avid Composer here and just essentially close the bin here. Actually, I just want to close more than the bin. I just want to close the entire project and just reopen the same project when I'm done. There we go. So now I'm going to point to this other folder or this other workspace that we created, this My Avid project. And I'm going to point it to the same folder where I've created this new sample project. Oops. And select this project here. And OK that. So now I'm opening using the same Avid software. I'm just opening a project that's currently stored on a Avid bin locking workspace. And as you will see here in a second, this is the same project that is currently open on Glorious. So you can now see that the sample project here, this bin. So if I try to open this bin, then I'm basically having a locked bin because it's open on the Windows machine. So if I create some content in here, let's say create a new sequence, and I'm just going to say, you know, just a sequence, just to see that we're making some changes. And if I close it, I can now switch back to my Mac computer, and I just need to basically let it refresh for a second and reopen it. and now it's going to reopen, but it's no longer locked. So it's available to me and I can make changes. Now it's my turn to be able to make some changes, and I can now create either new sequence or new content. So the same way, once if I create a new bin on this computer here, essentially it's not locked, and if I try to open it on the other computer, then it's basically going to report being locked because it tells me that I won't be able to change because it's open on this other computer that I was working on. So changes are just dynamically updated when you close the bin, and so this is the interaction that you can have, and multiple users can actually be working on the same project, just on different bins or different sequences at any given time, but they can open all the content in read-only mode. So now that we've created this little project, we would typically just close and be done with it. And any projects that you would create, whether it's Premiere, Final Cut X or 10 works in a similar way. You can also create multiple projects thanks to these workspaces and have different people access the content, not simultaneously, because Avid is the only one that will support a dynamic bin locking mode, but that's it. So when I close this project and I'm done working with it, I'm just going to close it here, and it's going to report that it's closed. And if I guess I closed my connection to my Mac, so I'm just going to go back to my Mac and do the same thing, just close this connection. Actually, looks like I've closed a little too much here. Oops, wrong password. Yep. There we go. Should be good. Okay, so if I also close this this project here, quit the application. Now what I want to show you is that as we close this Avid project now, you will see it says waiting for processing, and it's currently analyzing the content of this workspace. And as I go into the project and I look into the different objects here and media, this is where it would detect the Avid project. So I got to give it a little more time, and this is basically the next feature that I showed you earlier and that we're going to talk about in another snippet. So thanks for watching.